This is a good movie podcast with Katie and Joe.
Ho, 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 and happy holidays and a little Merry Christmas for the rest of your days, because this is a good movie podcast. Christmas Hallmark edition
Not
with your
Hallmark
host,
edition.
Hallmark edition with your host, Joe Bates.
And Katie Hetland.
Oh, I should say the and. Oh my gosh.
That's fine.
Folks, we're in a festive mood because today is Christmas and this is coming to you live.
It's not live.
Is this not live?
It's live, like in the sense that yes, you and I right now are speaking to each other live, but it's not Christmas when we're recording this. It will be Christmas when this comes out.
In the words of a great man, fuck it, let's do it live.
Okay.
Folks, today is Christmas. You're opening presents with your loved ones, these little babies, and you're having the podcast playing in the background as a fireplace crackles and warms your little tushes. And folks, we're so happy to be the voices that you hear when your tush is warm. We have a Christmas Hallmark something edition.
It's not Hallmark. It's just,
not Hallmark.
It's
okay,
just
Netflix.
Christmas. It's just Christmas. I don't remember where we watched this one. Oh my
I think we
gosh.
watched this on Hulu. Please do the noise for Hulu. Yep, it's a slight giggle. It's a slight laugh, and they go Hulu. I'm excited to talk about this a movie today. Before we get that, Katie, anything you want to talk about this Christmas day that you're happy? What gifts of mine did you like the most?
The ones that I asked you for.
Oh,
and you got me. Those are my favorite.
Okay, well, those are from Santa.
Okay. Well, then I love Santa, and I'm married to Santa now.
She's hot frosty, and is that a hot frosty?
What?
No, he's just a snowman. He's not Santa.
Yeah, Hot Frosty, which I'm going to say I think that is the best of... I've been watching a lot of new Christmas films on Netflix and Hallmark and Hulu and whatnot. I think Hot Frosty is actually the best one this year.
I didn't watch Hot Frosty. I think it was that Danny Glover one we watched with his family.
That one was too sad.
It was pretty sad, but I like the cry for Christmas. I put the cry in Christmas.
I did just watch, yesterday, I watched A Clusterfunk Christmas on Paramount, and I got... Well,
I have no idea what this movie could possibly be about.
It's Rachel Dratch and
okay, I would like this movie.
Anna Gasteyer.
Okay.
And they play sisters who run an inn in northern Maine, and it's like a Christmas movie parody movie. So it's just like making fun of all the classic tropes. And I got an ad on Instagram for it. And I was like, oh, why haven't I heard about this? I'm totally going to go watch it. And then I watched it last night. Very funny. But it took me forever to find it. And I was like, why aren't they promoting this? Like, what is going on? And then I learned that it actually came out in 2021.
Ooh.
It was advertised to me as if it came out this year.
The algorithm's got you, girl.
It worked on me, I guess.
Let's do, oh my gosh, this is a segment that everyone is asking about. They say it's their favorite segment.
Do they?
Yeah, I had a person talk to me and they go, can I borrow $5?
Okay.
And I go, no, man, I don't know you. I don't have any change.
Okay.
And he goes, I love movie news. And I go, oh my gosh, you love the podcast? And I gave him $10 because I had $10 in change.
That story I don't think is true and makes you sound a little bit like a bad person.
Really?
Yes.
Hallmark style.
Yeah.
Movie news. Did I do the Brooklyn Nine-Nine intro?
Maybe.
Movie 99. Katie, do you have any movie news for us? I can't tell you that I just got done driving for 2 hours and we're doing a podcast right away, and I have an improv thing I got to do after this.
I know. Your life is so full. Brag much?
My life is so full. So is my tummy. Have you seen my weight lately? Have you seen how heavy I am?
What is this line? What is this bit that we're going down?
Have you seen how heavy I've been lately?
I mean, okay. Movie news. Let's get back on track here with movie news. So, in the spirit of
Christmas,
of Christmas,
the Holy Spirit of Christmas,
and me not knowing about films coming out, I just learned that a movie
Superman
is coming. Well, yes, Superman is coming out. I did post the trailer on our Instagram story.
Oh, nice.
So,
you know, and I
just a
posted on our
plug for everyone to
Instagram
follow
story a plug for our friend's podcast, Kale Forbes.
Kale Forbes is the friend, not the podcast.
Friend of the podcast.
Well, before I get to movie news, do you want to say
I think it would probably be better if we start off with that, because I forgot to mention
say the name of Kale's podcast?
Yeah, I do want to say the name of Kale's podcast.
Okay, let's dedicate a minute to that, and then we will get back to movie news.
To our buddy Kale Forbes, who started a podcast called The Real Monsters of Coolsville.
The Real Monsters of Coolsville.
It's The Real Monsters of Coolsville. It's Kale Forbes talking to Lucas Waterfill,
also a
who
friend,
has his own special on Peacock you can watch. He's got a ton of credits. Lucas Waterfill, up and coming comic, of
Kale,
known retort.
Kale was in our wedding.
Kale was in our wedding.
That's a credit.
That's a credit.
Kale,
yes, but Kale also edits this podcast, and we did Entertainment Federation Wrestling together. Kale's great. We're so happy for him to have an outlet to talk to Lucas about his life.
Wonderful. Everyone, give it a listen.
Give it a listen. The Monsters of Coolville. They're too cool. That's not a bad intro, actually.
Yeah, except that you said Coolville instead of Coolsville.
Oh, the Monsters of Coolsville. They're too cool. They're too cools.
Okay, movie news. I recently found out that there is a film coming out on Prime in January, starring Reese Witherspoon and Will Ferrell.
Oh, yes.
Did you know about this?
I thought... So every time I come to Katie with a movie that I think I found that she would like, she tells me, I've already seen it like 3 times. And I go, oh, okay. Yes, I have seen the Will Ferrell, Reese Witherspoon movie where they have the same wedding venue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
It's called You're Cordially Invited. Comes out in January. It is... Reese Witherspoon is like planning her sister's wedding, and then Will Ferrell is planning his daughter's wedding. Did you see who plays his daughter in this? I mean, the cast is like stacked.
Is it Mila Kunis?
No, it's not. It's you know the
Annette Bening. Couldn't be Annette Bening.
The girl from what's the Daniel Radcliffe Miracle Worker.
Oh yeah, the girl in
Miracle Workers.
The main girl in it, or a different
Geraldine Viswanathan.
Oh, she's having. Yeah, okay, gotcha, yes.
And then she was in Drive Away Dolls, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Okay, so she's in it as well. And yeah, it's a issue of like they double booked the wedding venue.
Classic double
and
book.
Hilarity ensues. But I didn't know anything about this until I saw Reese, who I follow on Instagram, posted like the trailer and was like, this comes out in a month. I was like, what? So I'm very excited for that. And it is directed by Nicholas Stoller, who also directed Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
You know what's crazy about that Miss Witherspoon's? I don't know if it's
Stoller or Stoller, so sorry.
You know what's crazy about Miss Witherspoon's Instagram reels?
What?
You know what their nicknames are?
What?
Reese's Pieces. Yeah,
anyway.
Katie, sometimes you're going to hear Katie laugh at my jokes. Just know that she's laughing at my jokes, not doing the intro to Hulu.
I know, that is always confusing. But I thought it was funny because we had just talked about Forgetting Sarah Marshall and then another movie. I mean, honestly, this director, I really like his films, and I didn't quite put that together. So he directed Forgetting Sarah Marshall, The 5-Year Engagement, which is also fantastic.
I haven't seen it.
It's great, and it's also Jason Segel, so we won't watch it for a minute probably. But also Neighbors with Zac Efron.
Haven't seen it.
Zac Efron. Bros, which I loved.
Haven't seen it.
Okay, well, and there some other things as well. And he was a writer on like Muppets Most Wanted.
Nice.
Cool
Muppets Most Wanted, the lesser known of the Muppets movie.
Oh, I think he was also a writer for just the Muppets. The one with Jason Segel. We just talked about that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Anywho.
Shout
out to him. And I'm excited for this movie because I've liked all of his other movies. So I'll probably like this one too.
I just want to also give a shout out to Crypto, my favorite new dog next to Wally.
I don't think that a white man should say shout out to crypto on a podcast.
Honestly, it might help our views.
Crypto with a K.
If this is a white guy yelling crypto on a podcast, I mean that's gotta give us a bump we're looking
The
for.
algorithm is just like searching for that.
We
in
might
the
interview
audio.
a president with that kind of content.
Good.
Um,
Okay, well, do you want to talk about the movie that we did watch that is actually Christmas themed?
I guess.
Okay.
Because folks, it's Jingle All the Way, and you should know the movie plot is given away in the title.
It is not.
The poster is Arnold Schwarzenegger in a Santa costume, which gives it away of what happens in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
Just so you know, he never wears a Santa costume.
Santa isn't involved in this film, like, at
Well,
all.
technically, Santa is involved in this film. There's a lot of Santas involved in this film.
Well,
But
okay.
we're watching Jingle All the Way, the
Woo.
only Christmas movie that Arnold Schwarzenegger ever did.
Oh, sad.
It was, it came out in, I think, let me pull this up. I had it.
Wow, so unprepared. It's almost like you just were in a car for 2 hours and
Yeah.
then showed up to do this.
This movie premiered November 22nd, 1996.
Okay.
What's interesting about this movie coming out then is that it was made. The movie was written because of the Cabbage Patch craze of the 80s.
Sure.
This came out before Tickle Me Elmo.
Yeah.
So
That
Tickle
makes
Me
sense,
Elmo
but
was
the
like a big deal after this movie.
Yeah, but so we like didn't learn our lesson is what you're saying.
Jingle All the Way yelled, screamed.
Cabbage Patch chaos happened.
Cabbage Patch
They
chaos.
made a movie about it
Chaos Patch.
essentially.
Yep.
And we still didn't learn our lesson.
We didn't learn our lesson. And this movie came out a week before in the Mall of America premiere because it was filmed partially in the Mall of America.
Oh, that's fun.
The budget for this movie was around $60 to $75 million.
Okay.
In the box office was $130 million.
Hmm.
So it probably broke even. Maybe I would say broke even.
Sure.
There were some issues in this filming we may talk about.
Okay.
But before we get to that, Katie, what was your guess of what this movie was going to be? Because I promise you, everybody, there's a couple things she's going to say to you that will shock you. Just be ready for that.
Okay, so I guess what I need to say is that I didn't know anything about this movie.
Fair.
Honestly, I hadn't heard of it.
And she's seen a lot of Christmas movies.
I've seen a lot of Christmas movies. This came out when I was 3, and I just sort of missed it. I also haven't seen any Arnold Schwarzenegger films.
It's crazy.
I've seen clips of Terminator,
Yeah.
so
Well, I guess it's in the proof is in the pudding.
so that's it. So
Didn't you watch another movie with Arnold? We found that you watched the other day.
well, just name some of his movies.
Oh man, we the movies I'll name you haven't seen, like Predator,
No
Terminator,
clips.
Junior,
No.
Kindergarten Cop.
No.
Um,
Oh, I remember what it
Yeah.
was. I've seen him in Batman.
Batman Forever.
Okay, so that's my
As
knowledge
Mr.
of,
Freeze,
of
yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is as Mr. Freeze, and then clips from the Terminator. And so, I mean, those are pretty similar.
So that's all. That's your Arnold knowledge.
And I knew, his stint as governor of California.
The governor.
Familiar with that. No, that was it.
So what did you think this movie was going to be with all that knowledge?
I had literally no idea. So what I was going off of was
Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way. And that's not going to get me anywhere. And then you did tell me that Sinbad is in this too.
I did tell you Sinbad.
So all I know is that Arnold and Sinbad are in this film called Jingle All the Way. So what I came up with.
Is it the exact plot of the movie?
It was 2 competing elves think they know how to do Christmas best.
Wow.
And they compete.
That's
And
crazy.
Sinbad and Arnold are the elves. In case you missed that.
would love that movie.
Yeah, that sounded good to me. I was like, I'll watch that. And then I didn't watch that. I watched something very different.
He watched a movie that, in short, is a father that forgot to get his kid a gift for Christmas that was the gift to get. And so he's trying on Christmas Eve to find it, but can't.
Yeah.
And he competes with Sinbad for the last one.
There is like a group of Christmas films. I mean, films in general, but somehow specifically Christmas that are about like bad dads, like absentee fathers. It's like this one, Jack Frost. Or not Jack Frost. Yeah, Jack Frost.
That's the Michael Keaton one.
And he becomes a snowman.
Yeah, and he like dies. He just literally dies.
Sad. That came on. I was watching. What was I? Oh, I was watching Elf last night after I watched Clusterfunk Christmas, and then Elf ended, and Jack Frost was coming on, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to bed because that movie makes me so sad. I couldn't do it. I was like,
Elf makes you so sad?
No, Jack Frost.
Oh, Jack Frost. Gotcha. Sorry.
Anyway, the Santa Claus. Like, there's all of these just movies of like the dad isn't great, but he's now gonna have to like do something at Christmas to make it better.
You know what movie was on last night? I watched a little bit before going to sleep.
What?
Fred Claus.
Oh yeah,
that's a good movie. It's weird. It makes no sense, but I like it.
Of the Vince Vaughn Christmas films, it's not my favorite because my favorite is Four Christmases.
Isn't there 3? Didn't we watch a third one with him?
Like a third Christmas film with Vince Vaughn? Well, I'm not thinking of it.
I might be thinking Freaky, that Freaky Friday movie, and I'm just making it Christmas.
Maybe.
Anyways, but yeah.
Also, it does sound like we're separated.
Yeah. Well, I did say he just had a big drive. So
yeah. Joe was away.
Up in a different state. Running away from my marital problems. So this was a Fox Family movie directed by Brian Levant, who said this movie made him not be able to work again for a long time.
What?
Yeah, he said this movie made him people wouldn't book him because this movie was like razzed highly. People made fun of this movie a lot. He did Beethoven.
Okay.
The Flintstones.
Uh-huh.
And Snow Dogs.
Good movie.
The Spy Next Door.
I don't remember that.
These are like just terrible movies.
I liked Flintstones.
Yeah, Flintstones was fun.
The one with John Goodman?
He did both that and Flintstones Viva Rock Vegas.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But yeah, so he said this movie made him like, let's see, his next movie was 4 years later, which was a sequel to the Flintstones he already did, and then Snow Dogs, and he said it was really tough for him to find any work after this movie based on how box office not great and just terrible reviewed. And despite all of that, you've chosen this film for This Is a Good Movie podcast. This movie is fun. This movie is insane and it's crazy and it's one of the sillier. So like, I think Christmas movies are based differently than regular movies. So what's like you think they are scored differently, and I think they are very scored differently. Okay. And I think because of that, this movie is just mania, and it's silly, and it stands out alone from other Christmas movies because I don't know anything that's just constant action and chaos. It never stops in this movie. It doesn't, and sometimes we wish it would. It starts off the least Christmassy thing you could imagine, which is just like a Power Rangers sort of. Yeah, it was heavily based on the Power Rangers TV happening. Show. Yeah, it was like they based it off the Power Rangers, that TV show. Mm-hmm. But that is Turbo Man. And that's Turbo Man. And I do think this film should have just been called Turbo Man because that's the whole plot is Turbo Man. That was discussed. Okay. But they thought that wouldn't be Christmassy enough, so they just picked a random thing. They put Jingle All the Way. Absolutely insane. Instead of Turbo Man. But yeah, it has the entrance. Lorraine Newman is in that scene. Mm-hmm. Classic SNL. I know. She showed up and I was like, I know it's not because the timing is off, but that looks just like Kristen Wiig. And you were like, oh, that's Lorraine Newman. So I guess they just have an SNL look. Yeah, SNL look, which is skinny white lady. Yeah, I guess. But yeah, this movie made $12 million in its first weekend. It was opening at number 4 behind Star Trek First Contact, Space Jam, and Ransom. I've never heard of Ransom. Ransom I've seen. That's not too bad. I think that's a Mel Gibson movie. Space Jam is good. Space Jam's not too bad. Yeah, so we can go into the details of different things that happen in this movie. Okay. I think you're going to argue that nobody in this movie is a good person.
That is an argument one could make. I mean, maybe the kid. The kid is cute.
So what do you think of Arnold Schwarzenegger's... Let's just go with the characters, and then we can kind of go scene by scene.
Sure.
So Arnold Schwarzenegger's family. Uh-huh. The mom, played by Rita Wilson. And the son, who is Jake Lloyd.
Who's that?
Do you not remember what else this kid did? I would say the other movie this kid did is one of the biggest movies of all time.
Can you tell me what it is?
Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Oh my gosh, with his little bowl cut.
Yeah, with his little bowl cut.
Yeah, that's
Anakin
fun.
Skywalker. This kid also went to high school with Sam Griswold.
Whoa, Sam, that's cool.
And Sam Griswold will tell you, kid kind of sucks.
He didn't really do anything after that, right? He like kind of quit acting.
No, he got into drugs.
Oh.
Like he's still alive, don't get me wrong, but he had some mental health and legal issues afterwards. He hasn't really done much since that movie. He did 3 movies since, and one of them he was a production assistant for a short film. Okay,
well, Jingle All the Way, he was very cute.
Yeah.
And I thought he did a good job.
Well, I didn't like it when he yelled at his dad.
What?
The one where on the phone call and Arnold's yelling at him and then he yells back at him.
I think that's fine. Arnold has been a very bad dad to him.
What is Arnold's job?
He's a mattress salesman?
I think he's got to be like the president of the company.
Yeah, but like who is ordering 50 mattresses on New Year or on Christmas Eve? Like crazy.
What? It's the day before Christmas Eve because they go to sleep and then the next day he's like, oh, I forgot.
Like, sorry, wait till January.
It's the way they represent this mattress company that he's working at. There is a party going on downstairs that doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And he is behind his huge desk loving his job. Mm-hmm. He is loving it. In fact, he is loving it so much that when he signs one of those contracts, instead of signing his name in this movie, he signs Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh my gosh.
And he is like smoking a cigar. He's selling.
This is why I don't take him seriously.
He misses karate.
Yeah, he misses karate. I think, okay, have you heard like the conspiracy theory about mattress stores? Specifically like Mattress Firm?
No, I've not heard the conspiracy of Mattress Firm.
Okay, well, the conspiracy is that they aren't real mattress stores and they actually are like money laundering for like drug rings or something.
I mean, there are stores that are laundering stores, but I don't know about Mattress Firm specifically. Is there any proof to this?
Well, some people have just done like TikToks and stuff where they're like, there's this many mattress firms in a particular area. This many people live in that area. You change your mattress like however many years, 8 years or something. Mm-hmm. They're like, so this many people, you're buying this many mattresses, like these people can't stay in business on mattresses alone. There just like isn't enough demand. And so they're like, how are they all still there? And so that is the theory. Like I said, conspiracy.
So we're on a drug bed.
No, because we didn't get our mattress from Mattress Firm.
Oh, okay. We got it from Denver Mattress. That's a free ad.
I'm just saying maybe there's a reason he's so excited about his mattress company.
Think Arnold is drugged up?
I mean, he doesn't seem not drugged up.
It does feel like everyone has kind of maybe the Jingle All the Way is there's someone jingling cocaine out the window into everyone's face.
Jingle all the way on a bender.
We have Phil Hartman, the next door neighbor.
Yeah, he was good.
Good guy?
No, bad guy.
Bad guy.
Good actor.
I don't think I've ever seen a role like this in a movie, which is divorced dad who is creeping on all the moms in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was an interesting choice.
Just like, oh, I'll be your new dad because I see your husband's not away. And he is competing against Arnold Schwarzenegger. Rita Wilson has got a type, Phil. It ain't you.
Yeah, but if Arnold isn't there ever,
yeah,
then I
guess there is the niceness of like, if my husband comes home, he might, with his bare hands, split you in two.
Yeah. There were there were a lot of pieces in this movie that you don't expect to be in a Christmas movie.
It's kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean. They all come together at once.
Absolutely is not. Never say that ever again.
This is Christmas Caribbean.
It is not. You know, Pirates is one of my favorite movies. Do not compare it.
And then we got some tertiary characters like the Jim Belushi Santa Claus ring.
Oh yeah.
Where they're making makeshift toys and selling them. There's no drugs involved, but there may be drugs. There's probably more drugs involved with the mattresses than their knockoff.
Yeah, my understanding
ring.
is like they're making like knockoff versions of popular toys, but that just seems like so much effort. And honestly, I don't understand how it's really related to them also being mall Santas. Like,
it doesn't make any
that's
sense.
not really adding up.
Are they selling it to the kids when they get on the lap? Like, hey kid, it's Santa here.
Are they
$5.
just sort of like putting it in the store secretly? But then how is the money getting back to them?
They don't really dive into how the toy black market works in
No,
this
they don't.
universe.
They don't.
And then we have who I think is amazing in this movie, and you may be shocked to hear, improv most of his lines is Sinbad.
That checks out. I mean, I did like him in this. One thing I will say, like a pro for this movie, is I enjoyed how weird it was.
Yeah.
It didn't make it like amazing, but
It is silly and it's like insane, and everyone plays up way harder than they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Arnold also improved all his lines with Sinbad because Sinbad was improving, so Arnold had to improv against it.
you know, honestly, you saying that is the only thing that does make me want to like watch this again.
Oh, just to see their interactions?
Because now I would take a different lens.
I think Arnold is a pretty good actor in general. He just has the accent, so people, and he has the Mr. Freeze movie, so people just think he's bad.
Yeah.
But if you look at some of the movies and what his choices are, I think he's pretty good.
I mean, I'm sure at some point we'll watch Terminator.
Yeah, Terminator will watch, Predator will watch. Predator's a little different because that's like an earlier movie, I think, than Terminator. But
Will we watch the one where he is pregnant?
Junior, I've never seen that movie.
Oh, okay. So
But
that's for a guest to bring to
It
us.
is interesting you bring up Junior because there was another movie that was supposed to happen, or I think Junior was right before this movie. So let me pull up something.
Also, it's funny you said that Sinbad's lines were like all improvised, because at one point I did note like, wow, quite the anti-capitalism monologue from Sinbad.
Yeah, that toy he brings up is a real toy.
Wow.
The other toy, that was like a real toy being sold that had all those guns and all that stuff.
Oh my gosh.
So I think that was maybe a true story that he was bringing up about his life.
That's hilarious.
He's great. I mean, he really is just so he brings up Rodney King. Like,
Oh my gosh, yes he does.
there is a lot of very controversial things brought up
That's
in this
what
movie
you
that is
don't
a Christmas
expect.
movie for the family.
You don't expect to see that in a children's Christmas movie, is a reference to Rodney King.
No, he did Twins and Junior before this movie, which was with Danny DeVito.
Mm-hmm.
This movie was not supposed to have Sinbad.
Who is
Sinbad was secondary casting. They were very focused on getting Joe Pesci to be the Sinbad role.
Really?
So Joe Pesci was supposed to be the evil guy trying to go kind of like losing his mind about stuff, being a disgruntled postal worker and everything. And after a while, the guys are like, nah, we want him to be like physically matched.
Yeah. I think that's a better choice.
I think so too.
It's a different energy.
It's a lot more like schemes.
Yeah. I just can't imagine Joe Pesci like at the end of the film being in that like villain costume and like flying through the parade. That doesn't sound. It works for Sinbad. I don't think it works for Joe Pesci.
What's crazy is Sinbad is just a comic and he's a big guy, but he's not like works out or anything. And Arnold Schwarzenegger was a bodybuilder. And at no point was I like, yeah, I think Sinbad could take him. There are insane things that happen in this movie. Like the first thing they shot in Mall of America where they just they were giving people balls, lottery balls.
Oh yeah. They were like, okay, we've got, so the whole thing is he needs to get this Turbo Man toy for his kid because he didn't get it when he was asked by his wife.
Lied to his wife.
Yeah. his wife asked him weeks ago, and then she was like, "You got that right?" And he's like, of course." This movie is like why, women think men are incompetent.
I will say at the end, the moral of this story is do whatever the fuck you want because it'll work out.
Well, in that case, I have some different feelings about this film.
But I'm just saying, like, if you look at what he does in the movie and then what the repercussions are,
yeah,
it's pretty crazy. But
Oh yeah, so then they're like, we've got one toy left, and we're gonna do a lottery for it. And so all these people then, instead of just waiting to see like which lottery ball is the right one, they just all start grabbing all of them.
All of them.
I don't think any of you understand how this is going to work.
One escapes the store, and Arnold is just solely focused on this ball.
And it's like, don't.
There were other ones.
Pick a ball that's in the store. Like, if they call out 47 and no one says, "Oh, I have that," then it's gone. That number it's gone.
It goes to a point where he is chasing all of Mall of America, the biggest mall in the country, maybe the world, and it lands into a kid's playground, and a kid puts the ball in his mouth, and Arnold just grabs the kid, shakes him, and tries to get his hand into the kid's mouth. This is crazy.
Yeah, this is when I was like, I don't know if is Arnold a comedian or is he just like an insane person?
I think he's a comedian.
That's a tough line to figure out where he falls on.
He has done comedies before this, so he is like trying to play it up to be funny, but it does seem like a maniac. And at no point does he explain what's going on to the mom who's taking their kid away. He goes, "He's got the ball! He's got the ball!" He's just losing his mind. They filmed this at the Mall of America, which is why they released the movie there, but it was chaos, they said. So they were like, everybody was very nice. Everybody's easy to work with. But the crowds surrounding us as we filmed this movie were so huge that you couldn't move around at all from like scene to scene.
Oh, really? Because
it was everyone just trying to take pictures of Arnold while he was like filming this movie.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
It was like Beatlemania. After that, they go to it's just Arnold driving a bunch. There's also a cop he keeps running into.
Yes. Yeah, randomly. They're like, what if we had another character?
The cop is like, I think he was in like some old police shows from like the past that I don't really know. It was played by Robert Conrad and of a different time than you and I.
Okay.
And he's running into this cop and pissing this cop off. And then he goes to a place where they laugh at him for looking for the toy, which is the first ever movie role for a certain Chris Parnell. You got to see a young Chris Parnell.
Yep.
And he was as Chris Parnell-y as he ever is. Just weird laughs, very awkward, very odd person. He meets Sinbad. Throughout this entire thing, and Sinbad is just kind of going off about how terrible the world is, how terrible it is that he has to get this toy, and he's like, "Hey Arnold, let's make a deal, you and I will be a team." And Arnold immediately goes, "No, leave me alone." Which is a central conflict, though. You look back to see what happens, Arnold is the one that turned this guy away.
Yeah,
it would have been, based on how this guy acted, it probably would have been very helpful to work together. He runs into a mall Santa during this Mall of America thing who tells him he can find him a Turbo Man.
Yes.
And he brings his elf out who shows him a picture of a Turbo Man.
With like a newspaper to prove that it's like today's date?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And so Arnold finally decides he's run out of options, goes to the Santa workshop where we mentioned earlier they're making... I called it a hobo Santa factory.
Yeah.
It's all the homeless Santas. And this, I can't stress that this has like he's been through 3 separate riots to get toys at this point.
Yes.
With Sinbad.
Right.
And he gets into this workshop and he's going to do it all, get the Turbo Man. He seems uncomfortable. The Turbo Man, I think, cost $900.
What?
Doesn't he pay him like $900 or is it $300?
Yeah, it's like $300.
$300. It was like 3 times whatever the cost of it's supposed to be.
Expensive.
And and he opens the gift. They give him wrapped. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Their plan was to give him a wrapped gift and just have him leave. He opens it up, finds it's not Turbo Man. It falls apart immediately upon opening the package, which leads to, hey, you know what's a good idea for Arnold in the spirit of Christmas? Have him beat up 50 Santa Clauses.
Yeah, why not?
Of the Santa Clauses, 2 in particular, the very small one and the very big one, are people you know.
Are people I know personally?
No, yeah, it's your dad, both of them.
Well, you said the big one is a wrestler.
Yes,
right?
the big one is a wrestler. So I don't know if you may know that exactly. You know the Big Show?
No.
Paul White, yeah. He plays Captain Insano in The Waterboy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And the other one, the small guy, is Mini-Me from Austin Powers.
Oh,
he plays
really?
the old-looking one.
Oh, okay.
That's all the costume. He's not a very old one. He's just Vern Troyer.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was before
really
he was in
different.
Austin Powers.
Huh. Cool.
This movie made stars, Katie. This
Okay,
movie made
okay.
stars. At one point, defeated, Arnold is at a diner where Sinbad meets him, and Sinbad gives him his life story, which is he didn't get a toy when he was a kid, but the kid next door did, and that kid became a billionaire, and he is a mailman, disgruntled postal worker.
Again with the anti-capitalism.
Sinbad improv that whole insane
it's-
scene.
Well, they say truth in comedy, you know?
And Arnold pictures his kid without getting the Turbo Man drinking whiskey.
Yeah, I don't know that, like, I have ever seen a kid. I mean, I know that it's not a kid, like, actually drinking real alcohol, but I don't know that I've really ever seen kids, like, in a film pretending to drink alcohol.
That young.
That young.
Like, this kid is 8.
And in this type of film, maybe some, like, you know, coming
This
of
is
age.
a movie for kids.
A24, whatever.
I assume
But
the only way they got away with it is the fact that it's like, this is a sad person.
I guess. Yeah, that was wild.
I forgot about that. So when I saw him just Jake Lloyd chugging back whiskey,
So
which
many.
would be his future in real life.
So many crazy choices in this film. Like bringing in a bomb plot.
Oh yeah, that's the next thing. They go to the radio store because they want to know.
They say
all
on the
reindeers.
radio, they're like, if you call in and you tell us all the reindeer names, then you could win a Turbo Man. So they call in, and then they like can't get through, so they run down to the radio station.
It's insane.
And then threaten.
Well, they can't get through because they ripped the phone.
Oh yeah, they ripped
out
the phone.
of the thing.
Yeah, they're just causing it's violence and destruction everywhere they go in this town. And it's before the holidays, so everyone's stressed and they're making things worse for everyone around them.
When Arnold gets to the radio station, someone calls in to say the name of the reindeer,
Yeah,
and he
they
just
say
says
wrong.
Michael, Tito, Janet,
Yeah, that was funny.
Jermaine,
They're like, no.
and Martin Mull.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great actor Martin Mull is the
Great
radio
actor.
guy. I feel like they got people who are very funny to do roles that aren't funny.
Yeah.
Which I thought was odd. But Arnold is so insane that even if he were being funny, I can't stop looking at this giant Austrian man yelling at everybody.
He does take up a lot of space.
And then Sinbad takes the route of, this is a bomb, I have a bomb, and I have a mail bomb.
Yeah, because he plays a postman.
Yeah.
And he is like, sometimes bombs just come through in the mail. This is how you know it's pre 9/11.
I mean, this is the high, like 90s are a lot of disgruntled postal workers killing everybody, like shooting up the place. This was like a common theme.
Really? Wow.
Disgruntled
I
postal worker was like a
missed
very,
that.
very common theme of like a postal worker losing his mind and killing everybody. It happened like twice, so everyone just made a big deal about
Oh,
it.
no.
So he's playing off of that.
Okay.
The Unabomber had been happening in the early 90s.
Oh,
like
sure.
mailing bombs and everything. So
Yeah.
they're playing off that. Again, for a kid's Christmas movie.
Right.
For a kid.
Classic trope for a kid's
And
Christmas
so
movie.
you got to give me the Turbo Man or I'm going to kill us all. And there is no Turbo Man because the radio station did false advertising that they give you a gift certificate for a Turbo Man at a future date,
Yeah.
which is insane for the radio station to do.
I guess.
It's insane. And
I don't think it's insane.
Then
I think it's like a little, dishonest.
it's a little dishonest. I think it's a little insane. He, I wrote, the writing of this movie must have been do whatever the fuck you want. And I was like, great, keep doing whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, 1,000%. Because at one point, someone had to either they said do whatever you want, or someone wrote the words Arnold punches a reindeer in the face.
They have that line right here. That was great.
Someone had that idea, they put it on paper, and it went into the film.
Because we've been so focused on Arnold and Sinbad, we forgot that Phil Hartman he buys a reindeer for his kid because he wants to be the best dad on the block.
Yeah, which is honestly so funny.
And well, after they leave the radio station.
Because earlier Sinbad pretends there's a bomb and there isn't. He's like, "Oh, I'm just kidding." And then this time he pulls it again. They're surrounded by police, and the bomb does go off. It was a bomb this time, so
it explodes like in an action movie, like explosions out of the window of the building, like huge explosion.
And then all the police officers are fine,
except the one holding it is got that cartoony, and like
soot on him. That's it. Like, again, a huge fiery explosion out a window, and then everyone is totally fine.
The building's fine.
Which, I guess is good because I don't want it to show them all, actually dying.
Well, that's what I thought when I saw it. I was like, oh, I forgot about different things in this movie. I just knew about kind of the final scene and how insane that was. But, yeah, I was like, did they just kill a bunch of policemen and we're just moving on like nothing happened?
Crazy.
And so he goes home, and Arnold is so distraught over not being able to get a Turbo Man, tries to steal Phil Hartman's Turbo Man that he bought his own son.
Yeah, from his house.
And because of that, ends up burning this guy's house down.
Yep.
And fighting a reindeer.
Yeah.
The reindeer's evil.
Mm-hmm.
The reindeer is nice to everybody but Arnold. So I don't know what's going on. I don't think Arnold's anything. There's no way to know.
No, the reindeer is out to get everyone. So
this is not the first time Arnold has punched an animal on film.
Oh my gosh.
This one was fake.
Get him away from animals.
When he filmed Conan the Barbarian, Arnold punches a camel for real.
What?
Yeah, in the movie Conan the Barbarian, Arnold punches a camel for real. This was a fake reindeer punch. But him and the reindeer get together because they drink a local Minnesota bar, beer. That was a local brewery, and that they're drinking beer.
Oh, yeah, he's giving beer to a reindeer. You shouldn't do that. He's still harming the animal. It's not okay.
It's so crazy.
And then, we haven't even gotten to the final scene, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah, so far up to that thing, I didn't make a note. I go, it's basically a Looney Tunes live action movie. Yes.
Because now it starts off with Power Rangers and it basically ends with Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're at the Wintertainment Parade, which I will say, great name.
Yeah.
People should be using that. Towns, cities, villages. Wintertainment.
They made that up for this movie. They have a different parade there in Minnesota that they're copying, but that Wintertainment Parade was all filmed in LA. I'm just saying,
if you want a secular winter celebration, you should be calling it Wintertainment.
So it was supposed to be filmed in Minnesota, but they thought maybe because of safety concerns we should do this in LA. They thought maybe because of safety concerns for this final parade scene, they should film this in a closed set.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy. So at the end of the day, they go to this parade, and the kid's like, just go to the parade, Dad. You've not gone to my Christmas karate class at the school. You haven't talked to me. They have a phone call where they just yell at each other, and Arnold's pissed at him.
Yeah. He's so mean.
He's so mean.
I wanted to look up
I don't want to hear about this Turbo Man. I'm so sick of Turbo Man.
And then immediately hangs up and he shakes his head and he's like, what have I done? But I'm just when were his kids born? He already had kids at this point, right? He's a dad in real life. I just feel like that's not what came across in this film. I was I don't think he's ever seen a child before.
In his life, he's been just adults. He was an adult when he was born.
Yeah.
They go to this. He, of course, through a bunch of events that were him trying to hide away from the cop who had his hand wrapped up because he was in an explosion. Mm-hmm. Runs through this alleyway, goes through this back door, And these people start talking like, oh, you're the replacement? Classic.
Miscommunication.
Classic miscommunication. Classic not the right guy. Even though the other guy never shows up in this film. They never talk about him.
Nope.
And he is now for this parade. Instead of Santa being the last person in this parade is Turbo Man.
Yep.
Turbo Man suit with a working jetpack.
Yeah.
In the parade.
And it has like knives and stuff on it, or like throwing stars or something. He's got like real weapons.
He has real weapons in this. And he gets put on this parade with the guy everybody hates, his sidekick, which is constantly just shit on the whole movie.
Booster.
Booster.
They're always like, we have Booster toys. And everyone's like, we don't want that.
Fuck Booster.
Literally. Like,
and Booster is played by Revenge of the Nerds guy. He was the main guy in Revenge of the Nerds. He plays Booger Booger in Revenge of the Nerds.
Booger, Booster,
Booger, Booster, Uma, Oprah. They start doing stage fighting, but Arnold doesn't know what he's doing, and they're all trying to like. It feels like they're trying to physically hurt him.
Yeah.
And then Sinbad beats up the guy who's supposed to play the villain, steals his costume, which I have no idea how Sinbad's able to figure that out.
No clue. All we know is we see Sinbad in the Dementor.
He uses like a grappling hook and comes off the roof to this.
Yeah.
People are taking a lot of risks to get this Turbo Man doll.
Seriously, not worth it.
And they fight. He fights everybody. He shoots Dementor, and then they go, "Here's a Turbo Man. You get to pick one kid."
No, this happens before Dementor shows up.
Oh, before Dementor shows up. You get to pick one kid
in the parade to give a Turbo Man toy. And thank goodness his kid is like right there.
Yeah, he can see his kid otherwise.
And he says his name.
Jamie! Turbo Man knows your name?
Yeah. So Jamie runs up the float.
The mom just lets this happen. Terrible mom.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy. Also, kids aren't allowed to just like go on floats.
While it's moving.
That's so dangerous.
The float is moving and the kid is jumping on it and he's meeting strangers and the float is going away from the mom.
Right.
Dementor shows up and they all think it's like stage fun. And it goes awry because Sinbad's involved. Mm-hmm. To the point where Jamie runs up a building away from everybody and nobody tries to stop him because they all think it's part of the show.
They're like, he's doing a great job climbing. And his mom is like, this isn't part of it.
But she's not doing anything.
I know. She's kind of like moving in his general direction. But yeah, he like goes up a ladder onto a roof and then crawls out onto like a sign and then is like hanging off the sign.
The sign breaks and falls and somehow
then he's like hanging there about to fall down, and then Arnold like uses his jetpack and he flies around, and the way that he just like grabs the kid with one arm, like
I feel like we
has no regard for this kid's life.
Before we get to him grabbing this kid, we have to talk about the 5 minutes of him flying around the city of Minneapolis.
Oh yeah, he's flying all over the place.
He goes so high up, and
like to space.
He like shuts off and he's falling and he somehow turns it on before like a foot before hitting the ground. It's so crazy. This dad just trying to get a toy almost just dies right there.
Yeah.
He saves the kid and, as you said, the worst way possible, like basically ripping his arm out of his socket.
I was like, I don't think you actually care if you get this kid.
Well, it would take a lot of it.
But it does. It works out.
If this kid dies, his wife will leave him. He can fully focus on the mattress business.
His one true love.
The kid saved. Mm-hmm. The mom says, "Thank you so much, Turbo Man."
I know, she doesn't recognize her own husband.
Like, giant Austrian.
If you put on a costume, I would be like, "Hi, Joe." Like, you're not fooling me.
I'm Turbo Man. Beep boop. Beep,
and
boop.
Again, Austrian accent.
And he does this. And then Jamie's like, "How do you know my name?" And he goes, "Well, because, Jamie, I am your father."
Oh, that's where you got it.
Yeah, that's where you got it from the movie next year. And it's revealed he is Turbo Man.
And everyone's like excited about it. I would be like, what?
What the fuck? And then he just, as Turbo Man, tells his wife and kid, I know I've been neglecting both of you.
But this makes up for it, right? And they're all just like, yeah.
And I would say, as Sinbad is getting arrested, I would say the best moment of the movie is little Jake Lloyd, little Jamie, going at the Sinbad and giving him the toy because his dad is Turbo Man. He doesn't need it anymore.
Oh, yeah. That was cute.
Even though Sinbad is probably going to jail for years.
I don't know. Again, in this movie, there are like no consequences.
I would say blowing up police officers with a mail bomb has got to be some sort of consequence. Yeah, so that's Jingle All the Way, a movie that is very wacky, so insane. I love it because it is just literally an insane, crazy movie. And it makes me laugh. Mm-hmm. Like it is entertaining, and maybe not the way the director intended it. Sure. But it is very. I can't take. I'm awake the whole movie. This is the second shortest movie we've watched. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't look away the whole time. And Phil Hartman gets a comeuppance by getting hit. I don't know what happens to him.
Oh, she like dumps eggnog on him.
She like hits him, beats him up because it seems like Arnold's gonna beat him up.
He like gives her eggnog and then he tries to like kiss her and then she like dumps the eggnog on him.
Yeah, classic eggnog dump.
Yeah,
he got his. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that is Jingle All the Way. Do you have any takeaways you want to talk about?
Sure. I don't know if they're good or if they're bad.
Are they normal?
There's something. I think that this movie sets a bad example for men. And I think that men are the main audience of this film.
Is it that you can lie and be neglectful as long as like through random chance and events and good luck, it's all right?
Yes. I don't think that his wife should like forgive him for all of this stuff.
For lying.
He can't even like get gas right. Like he runs out of gas and then his tires are stolen. Like he can't do anything.
Well, his tires stolen isn't his fault.
Well, he shouldn't have run out of gas. Like,
yeah.
Just the bare minimum he can't even do. And then not only is he not doing the bare minimum, he's lying about it. Like, this is a bad husband.
And he's solving problems with violence. It's like his first solution.
Like, this is toxic. He is not okay. And that's why I think it sets a bad example.
He made a choice to steal from his neighbor and then punch his reindeer.
Yeah.
Yeah. This may not be the best example of how to live your life.
No, it's absolutely not. And if you show this to children, you have to tell them that. You just say, like, do not take any, this is all silly, this is all make-believe, do not do any of this, don't replicate this behavior.
And listen to some of Sinbad's takes.
Listen to some of Sinbad's takes, ignore everything else. That's what I think. Also, I do think that if I had watched this as a child, I would be terrified of reindeer. Because that reindeer was so scary.
That reindeer was
so
pretty
evil,
scary, yeah.
And, like, had, like, blood in its eyes, like bloodlust.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll say that first one is a good takeaway. The second one is the bad takeaway. What's your normal takeaway? Okay, great. My normal takeaway is I did really enjoy that they had a lot of sets on this film that had like huge crowds. Yeah. Like at the parade and stuff. That is a big thing. You don't get that these days because they're not. Now it's like people are filming and they're just doing CGI in the background or like not even bother. I feel like we watch so many films now where it's like, oh, they're in the town square, but there's like two other people there. Yeah, you're like, what? I'm with you. The hiring of extras is such a in poor form, and that is one big thing you notice from watching these old movies to these new movies. I think it has something to do with like what they were on strike about earlier. Oh, really? Yeah, I think there was something about like how you pay extras, and I don't know. It's a whole thing, but. There must be like a reason why people aren't using extras in the same way anymore. But I think that if these actors really care about these people, it's almost like they should take $10 million less. They could pay $10 million to have a bunch of extras in scenes. Well, I don't know that that's what it is, so I don't want to put that out there. But I'm just saying, I enjoyed having a lot of extras in this movie. Who would you cast Wally as in this movie? Wally could probably be... Wally works at the radio station. Wally's Martin Mull? Yeah, or he's the original Turbo Man in the movie. In the TV show. Why? Or the original Booster? No. No, because everyone hates
'Cause
Booster.
no one likes
At one
Booster.
point, Booster falls down and kids just beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, they're like kicking him. So I would not make that.
Yeah.
Well,
Turbo Man does not have a good influence on people if kids are beating up a sidekick at the first chance that they get. And they're saying, we hate you, Booster.
Yeah, not great.
This is going to be a thing that we never done. This is maybe a one-time segment. But this is da-da-da-da-da-da. As a stand-up, I know something about this person.
Okay.
So this is a story I know about Sinbad that I heard from Norm Macdonald
Okay.
on a podcast, not personally.
Yeah, what?
Well, I've talked to Norm, but we talked about taxi medallions. Anyways, Norm was saying on a podcast once that he was a year in the comedy, and he was living in Canada. And I think it was for Just for Laughs. He was supposed to pick up some of the headliners. And the headliner he picked up was Sinbad. So Sinbad gets in his car. He's just talking like Sinbad. And he goes, hey, we got to go to the store. I got to get socks.
Okay.
And Norm's like, oh, okay. And he's like trying to talk to him. It's like awkward. Takes Sinbad to the store. Sinbad buys some socks. They're like in the store for a long time buying socks. He leaves. They go do JFL. He's one of the openers for Sinbad. Norm does his like well-crafted 5 minutes he's been working on the whole year to make sure there's like everything is great, like structure. Everything's exactly the way he wants to say it. And then he watches Sinbad come out to do an hour. And the first thing Sinbad says, you ever go to the store to buy socks and they ain't got no socks? And does an hour on that.
That's amazing.
And it was like, he's like, I'll never be that funny. It's the funniest
Well,
thing.
he is funny in his own way.
Yeah, I know. But it's just crazy to see Sinbad just bought some socks that day. It was like, I'm just going to talk about socks.
Some people are like that. It's amazing.
So, I mean,
like,
that's
I'm in awe of it. because
everybody
that will
I
never
know
be me.
that has seen Sinbad live is like, it's just, I don't know what he said. It's just one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Wow. Matt Rife wishes.
Jesus, Matt Rife beef.
No, just because he's known for his crowd work. So,
Yeah, but
and
that's-
like not having jokes prepared.
I would say like what Sinbad does is not like necessarily crowd work. It is just off the cuff. Like, oh, this is kind of what I'm thinking about. Is able to tie it all together to make it
Yeah.
pretty funny. Where crowd work is whatever. But that's the Joe Bad stand-up story.
Nice. Okay, well, that's it.
Yep. Bye.
Goodbye.
Katie,
Yes.
we've gotten to the a part of the podcast. This
Where
is
we
why
just end the episode.
this is why people listen to this podcast for an hour for this one section right here. Katie Hetledge,
Yeah.
my wife, who I love
Uh-huh.
with all my heart.
Yeah.
Is this a good movie?
I don't know what you want me to say.
You have choice. You have agency. I'm not toxic. I'm not toxic.
Okay, here's what I'll say. It's fun and it's wacky. In the range of Christmas movies, because I do think like there's a spectrum when it comes to Christmas movies. There are some that are actually like very, very good. Four Christmases, Elf, Christmas Story, Muppets Christmas Carol.
Seems like Christmas has to be in the name.
This one they could have put it in the name.
Jingle
and
all
they
the Christmas.
No, like
Christmas all the way.
it could have been like a toy for Christmas or something. Whatever.
A toy for Christmas, actually.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't had time to workshop it. Okay.
Sinbad didn't.
I'm just saying.
Sinbad didn't workshop it. He was off the cuff.
There are Christmas films that are like genuinely good. And then there are Christmas films that are like so bad they're good, like Hot Frosty. And then this is kind of in the middle where
There was money in it.
it's kind of so bad it's good, but it's also like there are some genuinely good parts to it, and then there's some genuinely bad parts to it. So like I don't know where to put it, but I would say if you haven't seen it, it is worth a watch.
I think that's the best case I got out of
so
this.
that's the answer that I'm giving.
We gotta say good movie, bad movie. It's a binary system we've built. You can't
Nope.
say. What are you talking about? You have to say this.
No, I just gave a long speech about it.
I understand that, but it's a binary system. This really crushes the whole concept of the podcast. If you don't say yes
no,
or no,
it doesn't.
you can say it's a bad movie. That's okay, because I know you want to say that. You don't want to hurt my feelings, and I get it, and I love you very much for that. It's very sweet of you, but you gotta say good or bad. That's the whole point of this podcast.
I don't think it's very very good.
Okay, it's a bad movie. We haven't had one in a while. That's great. And honestly, if you had to say Jingle All the Way, money-wise, Rotten Tomatoes-wise, none of those are very good for the movie.
Okay.
What do you think the Rotten Tomatoes score was for this movie?
I don't know, like a 30?
21%.
Okay.
Even
Well,
worse
there you
than
go.
that. But yeah, okay. Well, that's Jingle All the Way. Merry Christmas, folks. I know you... apparently I got coal in my stocking. But, Katie, what is our next episode?
Our next movie that we're going to be watching is it's a good movie. It is one that I've been waiting to show you.
We'll find out.
For a long time since I first saw it, and I think that this is the right time because it is a little bit, there are like some Christmassy scenes to it, and we're still in the holiday season.
I will say, just to add a note before you say this, this
Okay.
will probably come out the week after New Year's. Because of holidays, we won't have time to record and all that stuff, so this will probably come out the week after New Year's.
The next movie that we will be watching is the 2019 Greta Gerwig directed Little Women.
Oh, this is like one of the movies that started this whole podcast idea.
Yeah, I'm really excited, and I feel like it's a very different tone from the last couple films that we have done.
Yeah.
So we're going to ground ourselves a little bit with Little Women. And yeah, you can watch it on Hulu, so everyone watch it. I just think it's a really good film to like watch kind of over the holiday break, and so everyone should do that and then catch up with us in the new year.
Nice. Awesome. Well, folks, this has been a good movie
Podcast.
With myself, Joe Bates, and
Katie Etledge.
I want to thank our editor, Cale Forbes. Go check out his podcast. Also want to thank Austin Fry for doing the vocals on our theme song, Cale Forbes for writing the theme song. And I'd also like to thank Carrie Pulley for doing our logo. You can follow us on social media at Instagram at TIAGMpod. Email us at TIAGMpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us from there, please, on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. Subscribe. YouTube is probably the most important to subscribe to. That's where they pay the best of any of these things, in case you guys are wondering how
They're
this works.
paying us?
No,
they're not.
I'm saying
Maybe they will someday.
Exactly. If you get to a certain metric on YouTube, especially putting podcasts out, that pays the best.
Okay.
Just a little insider information.
Peek behind the curtain.
But other than that, folks, thank you so much for listening to this episode. And I think for Christmas terms, that's a wrap.
We love you. Bye.
You get it? That's a wrap.
This is a good movie podcast with Katie and Joe.